next year.
And you were 19?
Yeah, I was 19 years, 2 months when I got married.
Okay.
That's when I was really struggling financially. My husband's business started
Not
doing well. And at some point we started relying on one income. And things were really bad because we were indebted.
Hello guys, welcome to the third episode of my victory story. My name is Millicent Machaka and I am so excited to introduce to you my special guest today. Her name is Oni. She is an entrepreneur and a business coach. So Oni is going to tell us her story about how God restored her finances after she suffered for some time, and not only finances but her career as a whole. Hope you will be inspired and most importantly to stay hopeful. Welcome to my channel.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank
and
you
you're
for
looking
having
so
me.
beautiful.
You're looking beautiful
Yeah,
yourself.
I've got beautiful women in my life.
Thank you so much for
You're
having
welcome.
me. Wow. Tell a victory story and inspire a life.
Yes.
I hope people are going to be inspired by this.
Definitely. I am inspired myself by your story, so
Oh my God.
I have no doubt.
Wow. So my word. So my journey started when I was still very young. I matriculated at the age of 16. Actually, I hadn't turned 16, but I was going to turn 16 at the end of the year. I went to varsity at the age of 17, but unfortunately at the age of 18, mid-year, I had to drop out of varsity. And due to finances, 18-year-old, actually I was still 17 years, 6 months. That was 9. Okay, I'm not going to give away my age.
Where were you studying?
I was studying at Vestec.
And you were doing engineering?
I was studying chemical engineering.
Oh, chemical engineering, okay.
Yeah. So I dropped out second semester due to finances. I couldn't come back for the second semester. So June, July, I couldn't go back. Here's an 18-year-old. Their future's shattered. They can't go back to varsity. So I stayed at home. There were things that were happening in my family that leaded me not to go back. So, I got married the next year.
And you were 19?
Yeah, I was 19 years, 2 months when I got married.
Okay.
So I got married to my husband. He was 24 at that time, very, very young. Our families thought we were crazy to get married at such a young age. So I've been married for 20 years now, going for 21.
You've been married your whole life?
Yes, I've been married for my whole life. Yes, absolutely. So when I was 23, we actually decided, but really it was coming from my husband. I've got such an amazing husband. He decided, he knew that I loved school, and the fact that I did not finish my career broke his heart because he had seen me broken. And he decided, let's go, I'll take you back to varsity. And he paid for me. And I could finish my degree, and I'm super grateful for such kind of a husband. I love him so much.
If he's watching, he must know.
I really appreciate him. My first degree, my second one, he's always been my biggest cheerleader, and God knew that I needed somebody like that.
Yes.
So I'm truly grateful.
To walk the journey with him.
Absolutely. So that's why even when I encountered challenges that I'm going to talk about, I still appreciate him a lot. I love him too much.
That is so sweet.
Yeah.
And that was like 5 years later after you dropped out or after you left?
Yeah, after I dropped out. Yeah, it was 5 years later.
I was looking for the nicer word to say.
I dropped out. I'm a dropout, so you can say it.
Okay.
You know what is great about this is I'm no longer in the situation. It's the past. It's history.
It's a victory story now.
It's a victory story. And we go through these challenges, not for us, but for somebody else.
Yes.
At that time when it happened, I did not know that it was for other people, not for me. Because a lot of people drop out, they lose hope, and they don't get back their life again. So at the age of 23, I went back. It was 5 years later. I finished my degree, and then I then went to go work in Polokwane at some big corporate. That was my first job, and that is the company that I started with. And even now that I have left the company, that's the only company that I know.
Oh, you only worked for like one company?
I only worked for that company as an intern. And then
You were absorbed.
Yeah, I was absorbed. I got pregnant with my second child, married life. You understand?
I can imagine.
Yeah. So I got pregnant with my second child, and I was in Polokwane. My husband was in Joburg. So it was a distance relationship. I got very tired. So when we found out that I was pregnant, then we decided that I'm gonna stay home because of the traveling and everything.
You're not gonna manage.
I wasn't managing. I wasn't coping. So I stayed home, but I thought, if I'm going to stay at home, let me register for my second degree.
Okay.
Then I registered for my second qualification. And as I was pregnant, I was going to school, and I also stayed with my child until he was over a year. And then I applied again in SA. Actually,
the same company.
Let me tell you, the person, my supervisor was working with in Polokwane, moved to Joburg. Then they called me to say, so Oni, what's happening? Have you delivered? I'm sure you've delivered. What's happening in your life? I'm like, yeah, I'm actually at home. I'm just finishing off my second qualification. But yes, I'm looking for a job. And then I was called for an interview, and then I was absorbed by the same company in a different area.
Wow.
So my career continued right up until things were going well. So my husband was doing well. I was doing well. I was climbing the corporate ladder. Things were really going well.
Yeah.
So things were good until, I can't remember the year, but all I know is I think it was 2012, 2013. That's when I was really struggling financially. My husband's business started not doing well. And at some point we started relying on one income. And things were really bad because we were indebted.
And you were used to a certain lifestyle.
Absolutely.
And downgrading was not an option.
At that moment, I was not ready to change my car. I was not ready to change the house that I was living. And my husband was not also ready to change his car. So like we were just in a state where downgrading was just not an option.
It's not an easy thing to do.
I just never imagined myself having to downgrade. Like oh my God, it was not even a thought.
What car were you driving?
I was driving a BMW 3
Oh my gosh, there is no way. You were gonna go to Picanto or something.
But I promise you, I was struggling financially. One car had to go, but we were not ready, all of us, to let anything go. And until, things were bad, until I had really opted to say, the only thing that could save us is to go on debt review. And went on debt review so that at least we could keep what we have.
Yes, the shelter for the kids.
And at
transport
least drive the cars that we are still
driving.
Look, you know, when somebody is in that state, even if you come with an advice to say, why don't you guys downgrade? I promise you they would not listen. And I guess I'm sharing this so that if anybody is in any kind of situation like that, they must understand that it's okay to be like that. So I'm from there, or anybody who is like that, they can also change, because for me it was tough for me to change. It was tough for me to downgrade. So I had opted the debt review way. So we went on debt review, and you know when you are going through a financial stage, your friends get tired of you because you're always asking for money. You're always broke. You always don't have money.
You get your salary today, tomorrow.
It just comes into your bank account and it just comes in to say hello, and then it goes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the life. And to a point where I think I had to really say, Oni, what else do you do? Well, you've been asking friends, you've been asking family. The situation is not changing. I had to really turn back to God and starting being committed with the things of God. I've always been going to church. I've always been a born-again Christian, but not a committed born-again Christian.
Because things were going well.
Things were going well.
Yes.
Well, in most
I
cases,
think all of us can admit that it does get us there. Sometimes when I also, believe in God for something, and I look at my prayer life, I look at my commitment into the things of God, I look at my relationship, when those things don't happen, I'm like, if I got that thing at that time, it was going to destroy me.
Absolutely.
Because I was not even at the right position.
And I think sometimes we go through this kind of situation so that definitely we can go back to our Creator.
Exactly.
And to teach us that we can never rely on ourselves. So I started going back to church, started serving at church, being planted in the church. And yeah, even though things did not change like instantly, but I had peace. I started finding peace in my heart. I started finding contentment to say, even if I don't have, I have God.
Yes.
You understand? My relationship with God got strengthened. I started having a prayer life. I started even meeting the right people who I can have conversations without them judging me, to say, oh my God, are you going through that stuff? And it was in 2015, I think around September. At church, we were attending a marriage course. When you're going through a financial state, it really affects your marriage. Both of us turned to God. So we were attending a marriage course. We registered for marriage course at our church. And it's really targeting for people who are newlyweds, people who've been married for long. So it is for everyone who is married or who's just about to get married. So when we attended that course, when they started the course, they then asked to say, is anybody who's just about to get married? They went through counseling and people stood up. They said, okay, those who are married less than 5 years, people stood up. And then they said people who are married for like 10 years, people stood up. And then they said 15 years, we stood up. And everybody looked at us, they like, what? That's where I met the people who introduced me to my business. When we went on a break, so there's a coffee break that we take in between the course. So we went outside, they approached us, they said, come on guys, you've been married for 15 years. That's how the conversation started. And we're like, 15 years we've been in marriage. And they're like, oh, we just married just less than 5 years. How is it? Then we started chatting. Then there was a time where they asked me to say, the lady asked me to say, so where do you stay? Do you stay around here? I said, yes, I stay around the church. And she asked me, what do I do for a living? I told her what I do for a living. And she was very uncomfortable because I used to make beer for a living.
Wow.
But anyway, so I changed the subject quickly because we are in church, I'm making beer for a living. It's like, oh my God. She was probably thinking, is she also a drinker or something? But anyway, I changed the subject. I said, okay, so what do you do? And then she said, I'm in business. I said, wow, I've always admired people who are in business, especially women. But because I knew that it's not easy to start a business. It needs a lot of capital. So I always admired them. Then I asked her, so what do you do? And then she didn't even say what she was doing. She pulled out her business card. And when I took the business card, I'm like, and it was Forever Living Products. I'm like, oh, is this the kind of business that you are doing? She's like, I'm like, oh, okay, all right, I can't sell. Then suddenly I was not interested in the business. So then she said, but it's not like I'm only doing selling. I actually don't even concentrate on selling. I do network marketing. But I'm like, what's that? Like, whether I was stupid or ignorant, I do not know, but I did not know what network marketing was. So I then gave away my numbers. She asked for my numbers. She said, no, but we can talk. Like, I can tell you more about it. Then after church, the lady really tried to reach out to me, and I kept on coming up with a lot of excuses.
Because you told yourself you can't sell.
Yeah, I said, that's not for me. Like I've been praying to God that, God, I really need a change. I need a breakthrough in the situation that I'm in. And you know, when you pray to God for a breakthrough, you don't know how it's gonna come. And when this business opportunity came, in my mind, I was very clear that this is not the breakthrough that God is bringing. This is not the... needed some kind of business. For me, that selling part was just not me. You understand what I'm saying? It was not my class. I thought, because I didn't know what I didn't know. Like you know, that is what is the problem actually, to say no to something that you don't know. It's I mean, even from the Bible point of view, it says lack of knowledge. People perish because of lack of knowledge. So I mean, I had judged the business. I don't even know what is it all about. I only know the products, and for me, the products was not resonating with me. I saw it as products that are for other people, but not for me. Not for you. But I know nothing about the products. Do you understand? But anyway, so the lady reached out, and I kept on saying, giving excuses. One day, I was sitting in my office. I had really grown very well in terms of the corporate line. I was already in senior management at that time. Sitting in my office, and I was just going through WhatsApp. I went through the people's profiles, and then there I met this lady. She says, I'm a business mentor and a coach. I'm like, business mentor and a coach, and she's doing Forever. It doesn't make sense. And I said, you know what? Maybe, like I'm at that moment, I'm thinking maybe she's trying to tell me about another business, and I just never gave her a chance. Let me just reach out. I said, hello. The lady, immediately she said, hi, when can we meet? I'm like, I hope it's not forever.
Yeah, Chef, she was so patient.
No, but in my heart, I'm not telling her.
Oh, okay.
I hope it's not forever. And she said, when can we meet? We can meet actually already this week. It was a Monday. We met on a Wednesday. It was in a restaurant at Eastgate. We met them. She showed me the business presentation. My word, I was blown away.
Wow.
I thought, God, how come did I not know about this business a long time ago? I got home. I tell my husband, I'm so excited. I get home, I'm like, love, I think we've got our breakthrough. He's like, okay. And I'm like, I have found a business opportunity. And he's like, what? What's,
how?
Tell me more. And I'm like, forever living. He's like, Sgoopoo.
The same way you were like, what?
No, you must be joking. I'm like, I'm for real. You know what? People are making money. You know, it's not about selling. It's about developing people and I think it's our breakthrough. He's like, come on now. I thought you are more cleverer than that. You can't fall for these traps. like no. Then I can't explain it. That's the thing. Then I'm unable to explain to him to say what I have seen. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to get those people to come to the house.
And explain to us.
So that they can explain to you as well. So that you are in the same page. So we can both be on the same page. I invited them. He said, no, actually, I don't want to hear about it. I said, love, you need to, because you can't say no to something that you don't understand.
Yeah.
I invited them to her house. Really, I dragged my husband to it. He didn't want to come. But, people are here. He must come down.
There's no way he has to come down.
Yeah, he has to come down. He must listen. Then he listened to the whole presentation. When they finished, he said, guys, you just sold us dreams. Like those things that you guys are saying, they are not realistic.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of money. I've been in business. I understand how business works. This one's of yours, I know. But anyway, I just gave him that wife look. In my heart, I'm saying in my heart, we are struggling. we need something.
Yes.
We need an extra income. We can't be choosy about
how it has to come about.
And then he said, okay, I didn't say those words, but there is a wife look.
Yeah.
That you just give your husband, and
I know it from my mom.
You know? Okay, you wouldn't know as yet.
Yeah.
Then at that moment he said, okay, look, I can see you've already made up your mind. If you want to go for it, you've got my support. But please, I don't want to be part of it.
Which was fair, I think.
You can do it. And that's all I needed. That's really all I needed. For him to know where I'm at when I'm not at home. What you're doing, to get his blessings as well. I mean, we are in partnership. You understand?
Yes.
So then I got into the business. Can you believe I got into the business? I'm so excited about it. I get to work, I'm telling all the people that I'm working with, people said, no, Oni, come on. You must be joking. You are in senior position here at work and you are doing this thing. Come on.
No.
Is it that bad at home? And it's because they didn't see what I've seen. First week, I only sold one tooth jar. Because everybody said, oh, we don't want these things. No. Like, it was tough.
Yeah.
First week, I sold one tooth jar. But then I remembered the Coca-Cola story. In their first year, they only sold 25 bottles.
Yes.
I said, you know what? I'm not going to give up. And I knew my situation. Look, for change to happen in your life, it's either you are inspired by something or by someone,
yes,
or you are desperate for change to happen.
Yes.
So I was desperate. I was in a very uncompromised situation where I needed to have extra income. So I was going to do whatever it takes for me to have that little income that was going to come.
Yeah.
So I just kept on going. They didn't want to see the business presentation. I then went to Facebook. I started doing my business on social media. And in that month, I sold the whole stock. I also joined 11 people in my first month. I became a supervisor. My word, I was so excited.
Wow.
You get paid for people that comes into your business. So I started seeing the money for profit plus for building a team. It started becoming even more exciting.
Wow.
Then the next month, I also got more people into the business until I got to a level of manager in 3 months. I remember I got paid 33,000 at that time.
Wow.
And that's what brought my husband into the business, because he
saw
saw
it's
the
working.
result.
Yes.
He's like, oh my God, in 3 months. Then we started doing the business together, and the business just grown and grown and grown and grown until 1.5 years later. And really, for me to be able to breathe, I was just looking for that extra 10,000 rand, so that
to balance. You just wanted balance.
So
that's
that I can just have extra nyana to buy my kids cheese, and you understand?
Yeah.
So when I saw the 10,000 rand, I started seeing in the second month of being in the business. Then I thought, oh my God, wow, God, you are so faithful. I was just looking for 10,000 rand. And another thing is, I think what really made me even more and more closer to God was when I've seen the 10,000 rand, I went back to sow this 10,000 rand to say, okay, I need to give back the 10% of my 10,000 rand, because this is coming from God.
Yes.
So even when you don't have, you need to always remember who has given you the money. And when you can trust him with your finances when you don't have. You understand what I'm saying? Even when I was on a financial strain, once I started being committed to the things of God, I still sowed into the kingdom of God, even when I didn't have.
Even when you didn't have, yeah.
And the 10,000 rand I've seen in my second month of being in the business, and he just brought more and more and more and more. And I promise you, 18 months later, there was just so much overflow that I left my job, and I was out of debt review.
Wow.
And completely, because when you are in debt review, you have to literally pay everything before they can remove
you paid
your name.
100%.
100% before you can move out of it. So God has been so faithful, so much. We have seen God in the business. You know, when Ephesians 3:20 says, I can do immeasurably more than you can ever imagine.
Yeah.
I have seen overflow. From the life of lack to overflow. It's so amazing what God can do with a willing heart. And when you trust him fully, when you know that you in everything that you do, you are highly dependent on him, because you've trusted yourself, but you've failed yourself. So I am really grateful for the journey that I went through, because if I didn't go through the journey that I went through, I don't think I would be the person I am today, where I understand that even if God blesses you, you still understand that these things are from God. There is never a day where I can rely on myself. I still wake up every day.
It is God who provides.
It is God who is the provider. Absolutely.
So it took you that pain, it took you that suffering, it took you that journey for you to get to a point where your character got pruned. Because for someone to be in a position where they have a big house like this one, they have everything, they have all the material things that people define as success. We'll get to that. But you still say, wow, God, thank you, I'm grateful. It takes the pruning of one's character to get to that point.
Absolutely.
Because if your character wasn't pruned, or if you didn't go through that journey, these things were gonna get into your head.
Absolutely.
People were gonna worship you right now.
Absolutely.
You would be an idol, you know.
Absolutely.
But it took you that journey. So our victory stories are very important.
Absolutely.
And walking our journey is very important as well, because it does a lot of pruning.
I promise
and
you,
it humbles
I've grown so much from the person I was then and the person I am today. And I'm really grateful. Even today, I still wake up in this house and I still can't believe that it is my home.
It is yours. Wow.
Like, you understand, because I've never dreamt for such kind of life, but God always knew
it was his plan
that
for you.
that He had planned this for us. And you know what? Things got so accelerated. Like God really wanted to show off. You know, when he shows up, he shows off. He really wanted to show off, or guys, trust me, I've got this under control. Because we came into the business within 1 year. What out of debt review, we bought our first car cash, so we were able to pay off our BMWs. We bought our first car cash. I didn't know that people can actually buy cars cash.
And a house cash.
Yes, that was second year. Second year we were able to buy this house. Cash as well. You can see that this is not your works, Oni. This can only be God.
It can only be God.
Because I never planned for it. It's not even like I understand the business properly. We went and trained in the USA. The following year, which was third year, we were called, which was something that was never done before. You know when they say God does the impossible. He's a God of miracles.
Yes.
We have seen it. In the third year, we were called to become the MC, the host of a global rally. 165 countries, all in one room. You are the host.
Wow.
So if I was not prepared for this kind of exposures,
it was going to get into your head.
It was going to get into my
and
head.
Destroy you.
But because I have learned to really deal with my private victories. I was able to handle the private victories. Because even when people were coming, oh, you're doing so well, I would say, all praise
Glory
and honor to the great Almighty. Glory to God. He is the one who's doing this. I'm really, the one that is inside me is greater. So it's not me who's doing all these things. So I understood that. And that's really what kept us grounded. Even today, I promise you, we wake up in this house and we still say, God, thank you. Is this our home?
Wow,
thank you, Lord. We send our gratitude every day because we don't want to get to a point, or should I rather say, I don't want to get to a point where this thing, I become familiar to these things. Because then I'm not going to recognize
and
the work and acknowledge the work
it
that
is God who provide. Yeah,
absolutely. So every day I still wake up and say, Lord, I am grateful.
Oh, Oni, I like your story. Really inspire me a lot, and I'm learning so much. I know you've told me your story before, but every time you tell your story, I told you I take notes because I am learning so much from it, especially how you endured the process of suffering and how you decided to go back to God. And when you mentioned that, when you were talking about this business, there was something that you saw that people couldn't see. And surely I have no doubt that whatever that was presented to you had invoked something in you. Absolutely. Because I've looked at how you do your gatherings with your business and your team. I don't know how you call it. I look at how you literally talk about God. You introduce God to your team. You literally start with God. It's not something that you only do it at home, but you introduce this God that has provided you and came through for you, even in your team. So there is no way God wouldn't trust you with the nation.
I promise
because
you.
When as much as those people come, as many as they are, God knows that you're going to convert their souls to Him, and you're going to tell them that for you to be where you are, if they aspire to be like you, it's because there is God in heaven.
I promise you, it's because of God. And I was gonna come to it to say, initially I was looking for money. God has blessed us beyond expectations. So you know, I think there is a scripture in 1 Corinthians 2 verse 9 where he says, where no eye has seen, no ear has heard, and no mind has ever imagined what God can do for those who love Him. So the life we are living today, we have never imagined. We have never seen. I've never seen a smart house. Our house can speak. We can really talk to each other in the rooms. I've never seen a house that has got swimming pool. Like
inside in-house.
Like, do you understand? I have never seen a house that has got a collapsing roof. Like the life that God has provided for us is something that we've never imagined. But definitely He had a great plan for us. But for me, I have found my purpose. I cannot imagine myself not doing forever.
Wow.
Like I don't know what would happen to me, because I have found my purpose. I have found my bliss. I have found my passion, and really
Impacting lives.
it's no longer about the money. It's no longer about the 10,000 rand. God has given me all of that. It's about impacting lives every day, and not they come in looking for money, but they find more. They find peace.
Even
they find
God.
God.
Yes.
They find that, or they get taught that you can never rely on yourself. Even if you want to prosper in the business, we need to fully rely on Him. He's the one who's got a full navigation to our destiny.
Yes, and that is the biggest lesson. That is the biggest knowledge you can ever acquire and apply in your life. So what can you say to that person, that woman? She's married, she's young, there's only one income in the house, or whatever income, it's not enough. They've got kids, they've got responsibilities. Yeah, what can you say to that person?
They must turn to God, and they must continue respecting their partner. God has entrusted them with that situation. God will never give you what you can't handle. They know that they're going to handle that situation, and they're probably going to be victorious. They will overcome the challenges. However, they will also help other women who will also go through the same challenges. But really, the biggest advice I can give is to turn to God. Instead of telling your friends and everybody else, rather turn to God. Turn to God. He is the one who's got the best plan for them to say how are they going to come out of the situation. And He will really direct their steps. They must keep on stepping. God will direct their steps, and they must turn to God.
This is my word. This is a word. Thank you so much, Oni. You always leave me teary. You guys, actually, ever since I hosted everyone, you guys have been leaving me teary. So this just shows that God has blessed me with very good relationships, and I appreciate you. I'll forever appreciate you guys, because our meetings are never the same. Whenever we're sitting and chatting, there's one or two things that I always take home, you know. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you're inspired by her story, and you're going to stay hopeful, and you're going to turn to God. We never lose sight of God. We will be turning to God and making sure we make Him our best friend, and we walk with Him.
Even if you can say, even if you don't see it, He is working behind the scenes. So turn to God.
Okay. Thank you, guys.